So today we're going to talk about inequalities. Now, inequalities, you might know these as these kind of fancy little symbols. Now, I guess the way you would say, or some, I guess, common phrases that would describe these would be, well, the obvious ones would be less than, this is greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. But you can also say, use other words for those, and that would be besides less than. You could also say at least would be another phrase. Between would be another one. More than. At most. Okay, so those are some kind of, I guess, common phrases other than the traditional less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. We're going to talk about those here in just a little bit. But let's just go through and just do, let's just say a little true false here. If I had this right here, this phrase right there, I want to know if I plugged in the number 6, would that make it true or false? Well, you need to read the phrase, and the most common or probably the easiest way to do this is to always read your inequalities left to right. Starting with the variable first. So this says x is greater than or equal to 5. So if I were to plug in 6, is 6 greater than or equal to 5? Yes, it is. What about another one? What if I did something like this? P is less than 0. And let's say I plugged in -3. Is that true or is that false? Well, again, plug in a -3 and just read it left to right. Is -3 less than 0? Nope. Or pardon me, yes it is. True. Okay, but what if I put the variable on the other side? So something like this. Okay, so now what a lot of people will do is they'll read it like this. -3 is less than x. But what you should do is you should read it x is greater than -3. And that'll help you determine whether or not this is true or false. So let's say I plug in this -6. Okay, is -3 less than -6? Or I guess you could say is -6 greater than -3? Nope, it's not. It's false. Okay, so let's move on a little bit. Let's talk about some of the basics of graphing. Now, when you graph, we're going to graph on a number line here to start. Let's talk about how would you graph something like this. Okay, you would say that y is greater than 4. Well, on a number line, I'm going to put the number 4 here. I'm going to put a number to the right and a number to the left. And any time that you have a greater than symbol or a less than symbol, you're going to use an open circle. Because what that means is it doesn't include that number. Everything bigger than 4. So what I'm going to do is, now your teacher might have something slightly different, but in general, what you do is you put an open circle where the 4 is, and greater than, okay, where are all the numbers that are bigger than 4? Well, they're in this direction. And there you go, I graphed it. Let's try another one. What if I had something like this? Y is less than or equal to 0. Well, if you have less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to, you're always going to use a closed circle. So, on a number line, here's 0, here's 1, here's -1. At 0, I'm going to put a closed circle because we're going to include 0. So all the numbers that are equal to 0 and less than. So I'll go this way. Okay, so let's try another one that's a little different. What if I said this? X is positive. How would you graph that? Well, positive numbers, some of you might be thinking 1, 2, 3, 4, etc., but that's not quite it. So if I'm going to graph all the numbers that are positive, I'm going to put the number 0 down here. Now, is 0 positive? Nope. It's not positive or negative. It's neutral. So where are all the numbers that are positive? They're all to the right of 0. but not including 0. So I'm going to put an open circle and draw an arrow. X is positive. Let's try one more here. What if I said y is at most 7? So the question that you have to ask yourself, if it says y is at most 7, does that mean it includes 7? Yes. So that means we're going to have a closed circle. So then the question is are all these numbers bigger than 7 or less than 7? If y is at most 7, well, at most means it's not going to be bigger than 7 ever. So we will shade this one. Okay. Let's do one more. Let's see if I'm going to write this one down. See if you can do this one on your own. X is not positive. So x is not positive. That means it has to be negative. Okay, but could it be 0? Well, 0 is not positive, so yeah. So close circle and go in that direction. And there you go. There's a pretty basic introduction to inequalities.